We are no one without the people that came before us.
WLFC is one of the oldest female bar organizations in the country. The founders of our organization had some challenges back in the 40s and 50s that probably we don't face, and we're lucky enough not to have to face because of their pioneer spirit in creating this organization.
When I graduated, I was scheduled to interview with a law firm, and I went in and this young man was sitting there and looked up and said, "Yeah, can I help you?" And I said, "I'm here to interview." And he says, "Oh, we don't hire girls."
The organization was much smaller at that time, back in the late 70s. And it was smaller not because of lack of interest, but because there really weren't that many women lawyers in Franklin County.
And there were 6 or 7 of us. Sometimes 8 would meet for dinner, and that was it. We would meet for dinner. We didn't have an agenda, we didn't have a business, but it was getting to know the other women lawyers. And even now they have the dining circle, so I get to meet the younger. A lot of them are really younger women lawyers.
But like Mom, I love these dining circles. I love meeting women attorneys who I otherwise would not meet in any other setting.
So you could join a group of other women lawyers, and once a month, you choose a different restaurant, and we didn't have a typed agenda, and we didn't talk about law. I would have been one of the older lawyers in the group. They were young, and we just had a blast.
And it's always very interesting because that's my opportunity to meet law students and young attorneys and women who've been in with firms. And a lot of them are with big firms, and I'm so glad to see that they are now hiring women. And women are partners, and women are judges, and women are all kinds of things that they weren't when I graduated in 1966.
Well, the first time I was exposed to the group was when I was working as a paralegal. One of the attorneys in the office took me to one of their luncheon meetings. I do remember, though, just feeling sort of an overwhelming sense of camaraderie in the room when I was there.
So Mom brought me to my first women lawyers meeting because she had been an active member of it.
I was in the German Village unit, and one of my neighbors in the unit was also a female lawyer. And she said, "Well, now that you're in the Women's Association, you should also join Women Lawyers of Franklin County." And I attended and kind of took off from there.
Yeah, she just asked me if I wanted to go to women lawyers meetings, and I guess I just thought that the women lawyers were my mom's friends. So I didn't know until later that they were people you met through Women Lawyers of Franklin County, nor did I understand what the women lawyers meant.
I remember thinking, am I gonna fit in? Am I as pretty as these women? Am I as accomplished as these women? But I walked out of the elevator doors in the Columbus bar, and the first person I saw was Caitlin Anderson, who was the president at the time. And she had this big smile on her face. She sort of said, "Welcome." I knew that it wasn't just about getting my dues and getting me in there. It was about making sure I had a connection with these women, not only in the courthouse, but also outside of it.
When I was growing up, there was a radio program called Portia Faces Life.
Portia Faces Life.
And it was about a woman lawyer in a small town. And I thought that was a neat thing to do. So I've always wanted to be a lawyer.
For my graduation present from law school, my grandmother gave me a plaque. And it had on one side a picture of me in the first grade. Quite cute, I might add. And on the other side, it said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And it said, "Lawyer."
Well, when I was a kid, I hated it when they would talk about law stuff, because I just thought it was really boring and I didn't understand what they were talking about.
I remember one day when I had taken her to my office, and I said toward the end of the day, "Okay, I'm finished for the day. We can go now." And she looked up at me and she said, "Well, when are you going to start working, Mom? All you did was talk on the phone all day."
When I was a senior in high school, we had a conversation about if I went to law school, we agreed that when I got out, then we would form our own firm and she'd leave legal aid.
And so in 1980, she said to me, "Okay, Mom, we're opening an office." And it made the Dispatch because we were a new mother-daughter law firm.
She brought me to Women Lawyers. She brought me to the Columbus Bar Association meetings for family law. She brought me to the Ohio State Bar Association meetings. And I've always been a joiner.
And whenever she's joined an association, for the most part, she's wound up the president. She's an organization junkie.
I actually met my law partner, Abby Obenauer, in law school. Abby was the adoption fellow. And we did a case together with our mentor, Rosemary Pomeroy, who was actually a former president of WLFC. And Rosemary really took Abby and I under her wing and walked us through the adoption process.
It's really great to see these talented women coming out, and they can get to be partners, and they can get to be judges, and they can get to be justices. They can just be all these things.
I think it can't be understated, the responsibility that's on each of us as women lawyers, not only to hold ourselves to a standard and to reach out and help other people come up the ladder as well.
What impresses me the most about some of our more seasoned members is their continued involvement and interest in our organization, and they are role models for the younger attorneys.
And so I would say that I've been mentoring for a lot of years. And so the mentoring is around career advice, political advice, sometimes, personal. And even now, so even though I haven't practiced law in, 14 years, I still have younger female lawyers that come to me for advice.
And you don't always find that. You don't always have that type in the place that you work. You don't always have that support. And you may not have that in your family. But so for me, it was more of an emotional support circle that was very important, especially early on in my career.
Lisa was on the board. She was a former partner at Porter Wright. And you just see her, and she's just this flowing energy. She will walk up to you, pull you into a big old hug, and ask how you are. I mean, you leave smelling like her perfume, but you're just so happy to be a part of her presence. We rarely talk about the practice. We rarely talk about the ins and outs of deposition work, even though she's a giant and a genius. She really wants to know emotionally how we're holding up and how we're doing on our own.
As a student member of Women Lawyers, I did hear about the scholarship through the group, directly submitted my application, and then also had to write an essay. I do recall the topic of the essay was about each one helping one, and that sort of resonated with me, because I've always believed that anytime you achieve success in an area, you really have an obligation to reach back and help those who are coming up behind you.
I feel like it's one of our most important goals is to continue to be a resource and continue to be relevant for generations to come. And if I can be a part of that, then that's just gonna make me the happiest woman lawyer of Franklin County in the world.
I have gained some of the greatest friends through my involvement with Women Lawyers, and that I will truly value for a lifetime.
Those people have become my dearest and closest friends.
Certainly have enjoyed, the lunch and learns, the social events, and, maybe just most importantly for me, getting to know other women lawyers and becoming friends.
The opportunity to develop those friendships and those mentorship opportunities where you can find someone older than you, someone more seasoned, and you can just pick up the phone and say, hey, I have this problem, I have this issue, can you help me out?
I firmly believe that I wouldn't be the person I am. My firm would not be as successful as it is without the support of other women lawyers and without the connection and inclusiveness that the Women Lawyers of Franklin County gives us.
There's something very special and very unique about this wonderful organization that for 75 years have supported women in their efforts to exceed in this very proud profession that we've all chosen.